Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another commentary video, this time discussing some news on Transformers 5. So this isn't any major news, such as plot details for the movie or reveals of the figures. However, I figured I would cover it since we don't get TF5 news that often, and this basically comes from a story posted on TF World 2005, which of course is always a great source for Transformers news, and they're reporting on this Hasbro Investor Day, and little tidbits of information we get here and there, nothing really major about Transformers 5. Some additional information that's kind of interesting, but we do have our first look at what looks to be the Transformers 5 logo. Now, maybe it's just sort of a placeholder. We don't know if this is official, but the official logo will probably look something like this. So, taking a look at it, we have a logo that is on one side the Autobot symbol, and on the other side the number 5, which is very similar to what was done with the Age of Extinction logo, though it's different from a lot of the photoshops we've seen early on that put the Decepticon symbol with the number 5, as we have the Autobot symbol now, which to me really made sense with the direction that Hasbro seems to want to take the Transformers movies, and that's one of the main things that I'm getting out of the looks of this logo, is that it has a much lighter feel to it than really any of the logos or promos we've seen for the previous movies. Now, this may just be the early stages, but in contrast to the Age of Extinction logo, this just has a more light, welcoming look to it, whereas the Age of Extinction one kind of had that metallic, dark look around it. We also always seen it with black surrounding, and we just have that evil looking Decepticon symbol. This doesn't have that look at all. In fact, the only thing that's really reminiscent of Age of Extinction is probably the way the number 5 looks, and despite the lighter tone that we're probably going to be getting in at least Transformers 5 and probably 6, 7, and 8, it does look as though they're carrying on the stylistic look that they introduced in Age of Extinction. Those of you probably noticed that the Transformers logo changed in Age of Extinction from what we've seen in the original trilogy. And, they're keeping with that, so that's definitely cool, just to keep consistency. One thing that is really peculiar here is that we don't have a movie-styled Autobot symbol. Instead, this looks much closer to the traditional Autobot symbol we'd see in G1, Armada, just any of the cartoons really, which is probably one of the first times we're seeing this in the films. Now, I'm sure there's some promotion somewhere where they use the traditional symbols for the movies, and maybe this is just preliminary, but it definitely is kind of interesting. Personally, I do kind of like the way it looks, probably better than a lot of the fan-made Transformers 5 logos. It isn't really exciting or anything, but it does look kind of cool, and it makes more sense to put the Autobot symbol with the number 5. It just kind of fits with the shape better. Decepticon symbol kind of works with number 4, so it does kind of remind me of Robots in Disguise. That isn't so cool, but overall, I guess it's okay. Outside of the logo, we do have some other tidbits of information in this reveal. Supposedly, it says that, they want fans to be participating more in the franchise. I don't really know how they're going to do that. They do have a chart of the shared community here, like, they show storytelling, and then they have a connecting section, and we have, like, BotCon, and, all the different cons underneath. Then there's participation through, like, Google, Facebook, that kind of thing. Sadly not YouTube, but I'm sure it'll be included in there. Also, we have a little bit of discussion about the Creo line. You remember that, buildable Transformer kind of Lego ripoff thing? Apparently they're going to be doing something else with the line, maybe even an animated series, but it's not going to go outside of China. Personally, this isn't a big disappointment because I was never a big fan of the line to begin with, but I'll be curious to see what the animated series will be like, even if it's subtitled or something. something like that. Then there's some news about Transformers Micronauts. For those of you who don't know, the Micronauts were like an old toy. I don't even know the decade exactly, maybe 80s, 70s, something like that. And I guess they're bringing them back with a Transformers twist on them. I don't know too much about them. Some older people I know kind of liked them. They do kind of have a more mechanical look, at least for some of the characters, if you just do a Google image search. So yeah, I'm not too excited about that. Would rather them just focus on the main line. Same thing with the whole Creo situation, but it will be interesting to see what they do there. Then finally, we have one of the most interesting things from this reveal, and that is what looks to be an official revenue chart for what looks to be the last 10 years of Transformers. And there are some really telling things here. Most notable is probably just the dramatic boost we had ever since the first movie. I didn't know it was even that big in 2006 compared to 2005. I guess that's interesting as well. And it looks like the sales, the revenue that was brought in with each movie kind of corresponds to how quality the line was. The first movie bringing in, we have Revenge of the Fallen, bringing in even more. If that's true, it's probably the best year of Transformers by the looks of it, and makes sense. Revenge of the Fallen was a very solid line in my opinion. Then we have it kind of drop off with Dark of the Moon, which explains all those extra bumblebees and thundercrackers which you found in your Mark's clearance section. And surprisingly, it's kind of the same for Age of Extinction. I mean, maybe it's slightly lower, but from a lot of the negative news going around, but they're about the same as Dark of the Moon, at least according to this. So, Action Line and Dark of the Moon line were kind of equivalent in some ways, as in they were just better and worse than each other in different ways that kind of balanced them out. And then, of course, each non-movie year seems to drop. The least drop was with Transformers Animated. Of course, I don't know if they're counting, what figure sales were from the movies still, the movie line, but that year really didn't go down, and that probably has to do with some movie figures as well. But I would think with Transformers coming into the spotlight again, there was just still a lot of hype around it, even Transformers Animated as a cartoon. 2010 significantly drops, and Transformers Prime is lower than Transformers Animated, but for those 2 years it stays very consistent. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, 2015, they only had these 9 months, but it does look to be the lowest period they've had in a long time. Might say something about the Robots in Disguise toy line, but, I don't want to jump the gun, and of course it's only 9 months, and it might have a little bit of extra time to rise back. But anyways, that's about all I'm going to go over for this one. Of course, you guys can leave your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think of the new logo? Some of the other information that we learned. Also, you can drop off your topic suggestions below. Like I said, we don't get Transformers 5 news that often, so until we do, I like to have other topic suggestions, whether they pertain to Transformers 5, the cartoons, the toy lines, whatever it might be. If you have a suggestion for it, leave it in the comment section below, and if you're interested in more of that stuff, you can check out my channel. I have a lot of different Transformers discussion topics, and for more regular updates, of course, you can follow the channel or follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. More commentary coming soon.